Hey, in this video, I'm going to be speaking to you about why you need to heal your bloodline, why you need to heal your ancestral lineage. That means everybody who came before you, all them generations, and everybody who will come after you. It's your responsibility now to do this healing work and essentially transforming yourself. So if you consider the fact that you have come from someone, you've come from a certain culture, a certain background, a certain history, a certain heritage. You did not choose any of these things. You didn't even choose to be born. You were just brought into the world. As a result of that, a lot of things were passed down to you. Again, whether you wanted that or not, you don't have a choice on this. Just like diseases and illnesses can be passed down genetically in your DNA, certain emotional problems, trauma, addictions, abuse, broken families, all of this stuff is also passed down generationally, on and on and on and on and on. We have no clue how far some of this stuff goes back. But if nothing is done, it keeps getting passed on. Again, we don't know how far it can get passed on. Thankfully, we're living in a very conscious age now, and people are doing a lot of work to change themselves. And one of the purposes of your life now is not only to change yourself and heal yourself, but it's to heal all them generations that came before you. Is to change the trajectory of everybody who will come after you. Because if you don't do this now, it's going to affect a lot more people than just you. This is bigger than you. Even though we get caught in our own little worlds and we think, why am I suffering so much? Why is my life so bad? But on a bigger perspective, on the bird's eye view of the situation, there's a lot more at stake than just you and your problems. But as you heal and fix your own problems, you heal and fix many people's problems, because we are all ultimately connected. Whatever you do affects other people. I used to think about this strangely when I was a kid. I'd be watching a sporting event like a football game, soccer game, whatever you want to call it, and I'd sometimes wonder that if I did something in this moment, would it change the outcome of the game? I know that sounds stupid because the game could be played like thousands of miles away, but I do think that if I do something now, it can impact something thousands of miles away. If I send a message to my friend which changes the course of his direction, which makes him do something else, which influences somebody else, before you know it, it's influenced someone at that game that's affected the outcome. If that makes sense. The point I'm trying to make is your actions, what you do, they're not isolated. Every little thing you do reverberates and it affects everything else. Even the people and generations that came prior to you. I don't know how this works, but it does. There's literally generations of people willing you to do this work now. It's a great honor. It's a great responsibility. You might be hearing this thinking, well, it's a burden. I don't want this burden. I don't want to do this. But the fact that you're watching the video tells me that you are strong enough to do this. You're the one who came here to do this. There's no mistakes. And I hope this gives you some motivation to see it as a great honor and great responsibility. That'll give you a sense of purpose, a sense of meaning behind the difficulties and the problems that you're going through. That this is a part of your life purpose, is to fix this now. And there might be nobody else, like cousins or brothers or sisters or anybody else who's doing this work except you. You are the one, and you are strong enough, and you chose to come here to do this. But also consider how many people's suffering you're dealing with. All them people who came before you, it's like their suffering is snowballed. They didn't know how to deal with it. There wasn't enough consciousness The consciousness at that time was not at a level where people knew how to deal with their problems. Thankfully now, we are much more aware, which is why you chose to come here now to fix this problem. But it's all snowballed. It's a huge snowball at this point for most people. So it's heavy. A lot of heavy lifting. That's why it feels so difficult. At the same time, you are tremendously strong. You might not realize this until you've done the healing and you've come out the other side. Only then will you see how strong you were, but also how strong this journey has made you, and how you have single-handedly changed the trajectory of everybody who will come after you. You've literally changed the course of your whole bloodline and family. That is admirable. Like, do you know what I mean? I can't think of anything more honorable than that. That's greater than your problems. Your small problems, I'm not saying they're not relevant, but they're still small problems in the grand scheme of things. Nobody else really cares about your problems as much as you do. But when you consider your problem is really just a symptom of many, God knows how many people's problems that have snowballed, that have been passed down to you energetically, and now you have an opportunity to fix it, to heal it. And you choose to take and carry the burden of that. Because this is almost like it's an energetic thing that you're carrying. Even though you might think that your parenting was healthy and you can't explain why you maybe have problems now, I'm telling you now, your parenting was not healthy. Even if you think that it was, there were certain things that were not right. Because if you'd been raised differently, you would be able to handle whatever you're going through. You would have been more emotionally mature. You'd be more developed psychologically. So on the surface, it might look like my parenting was fine. On an energetic level, you just picked up things almost like osmosis. You just absorbed the energy of your parents. Your parents just absorbed the energy of their parents. And this just goes on and on and on and on. And this energy is constantly getting passed on. And so what you really need to do is on a deeper spiritual level is change your energy. When you change the energy, then you change what you pass on. Now, in the past, the energy, even though it was probably shifting from generation to generation, it wasn't really shifting enough because there was a lot of pain attached to it. But as you come to it now, you can shift that energy drastically. You can take it from a very low state to a very high state with the healing, developing your consciousness, working on your emotions, all of that kind of stuff. A couple of final points I want to share here, things that you can do to heal your bloodline. Obviously, I just touched on them there, things like healing trauma, changing your energy. But I also think that something like pursuing goals and doing things that no one in your family or lineage has ever done before, that really sets a new standard. If you've come from a family that was always poor and didn't have much, if you became successful financially, you would potentially completely shift the course of that lineage, okay? Or maybe your lineage always had a health problem and you figured it out and you changed it and you never got passed on again. You changed it on a deep level. But that change, I feel, needs to come on the level, on the material level, on the level of external reality. You change something on that level that for so long had kept your bloodline imprisoned. And you were the one who shifted it. You changed it for everyone. So one great way you can begin to release this old energy is through the act of forgiveness. So forgiveness is a release. A lot of the grievances we have, especially around family members, they hold on to us because we're not able to forgive. If you want to release that pressure, work on forgiving people who you think have done you wrong. I know this is not easy, but ultimately we're on the path of growth, not clinging to the old, not clinging to that victim mindset, because this is why the journey is so hard. You've got to learn to forgive. So that's everything I've got to talk about in the video. If you did enjoy it, if you could please go ahead, give a like, share, subscribe. Really helps me out. But until next time, God bless.